You remember the trade deficit?
Today, our manufacturing trade deficit with the world is nearly $800 billion. $800 billion, and going up fast. Unless I become president, you will see a drop like you've never seen before. You will never see before.
That was presidential candidate Donald Trump, and today President Trump's administration announced America's highest trade deficit in history. The policy of Donald Trump managed to deliver a merchandise trade deficit of $891.2 billion. And because Donald Trump understands absolutely nothing about international trade, nothing the president has done has worked the way he wants it to. For example, President Trump illegally used a national security loophole in trade law to unilaterally impose tariffs on China. But tariffs on Chinese-made solar panels, for example, have in fact nothing to do with national security. And what happened after President Trump used tariffs to try to reduce the amount of merchandise China sells to the United States? China ended up selling more merchandise to the United States, and the United States ended up selling less to China. And now the trade deficit with China alone has hit a new record high of $419 billion. And what does President Trump have to say now that he has completely failed in his promise to reduce the trade deficit, and the trade deficit has actually gone up dramatically to new record highs?
Thanks to our powerful trade policies, the trade deficit is falling and falling and falling.
Well, you didn't expect him to tell the truth about it, did you? Now that Donald Trump has completely failed to do what he said he would do with the trade deficit in the presidential campaign, the only time you will hear Donald Trump talking about the trade deficit is when Democrats run negative ads against Donald Trump, where they let Donald Trump do the talking.
$800 billion, and going up fast. Unless I become president, you will see a drop like you've never seen before. You will never see before.
Donald Trump, the greatest economic ignoramus in the history of the American presidency, gets tonight's last word. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.